Hey, it's Adaz, and today we're going to learn how to write an Amazon book review. And this can flow over to products, to customer reviews, your customer service reviews, etc. However, we're going to focus on books today. Now, why do you want to write a book review? First of all, not only to support the author, and in today's market with publishers and publishing, they actually look at how many reviews an author has. And so your review is totally supporting the author. It's super important, but it also benefits you in a big way. First of all, it's a great platform to express and share your opinions. Also, you're helping other readers decide whether they want to get this book or not. And then, in addition to that, do you know that your review actually can promote a conversation, a literary conversation about the book itself? Also, it enhances critical thinking skills. We live in a day where critical thinking is so important because there are so many voices out there. So the more you write, the more you express yourself, the more you learn the right questions and answer them while you're writing, the more you're developing these critical thinking skills. So this is a huge benefit for you, as well as, again, for the author. This is also a way to preserve your personal reflection. You can always go back and read your review and say, oh yeah, that's what I remember about that book. So it's a great way to preserve that and also to improve your writing skills. And we all can use that. Even me. Yep, even me. So with this, let's get started on how to write a review. First of all, go to your Amazon account. Make sure you sign in so your name is up there. Don't have an Amazon account? Super easy to set one up. Just Google Amazon and then it'll ask you all the questions, fill in the answers, and you get an account. Next, you can keep it at all or you can go right to books, and then it is a focus search, and we're going to look for the book Leaving Tomorrow. This is my friend's new novel, first novel. She's an academic writer. And this is the book that right now, if you downloaded the ebook for free, or it might be at a very low price, depending on when you're watching this tutorial, this is an excellent book. So make sure you get it. And we'll talk about why in a minute. So here we are. The book will come up. It'll say either the paperback or the Kindle version. All the reviews show up on paperback or Kindle, so it really doesn't matter. But if you bought the Kindle or downloaded it, this is where you're going to be looking right here. So to write a review, you want to go to the review section. So we're going to click that. And then you can read the reviews. They're all right here. So you come over to this side. You see where it says, review this product. It's always going to be in the left-hand side. So you're going to write a customer review. Click there. Make sure to put your name up here. If you send presents to friends through Amazon, you might have different names in your contact list. So make sure your name is there. All right, you're going to create the review, set your stars. We can just clear this so you can see. Then you can set your star. This is a 5-star for me. You want to add a very moving and attention-grabbing headline. Now, let's talk about that. A lot of times you can get stuck on what should I write? What should I write? Don't worry about the headline first. Worry about the book. So in this one, I couldn't put the book down. There are so many twists and turns. I couldn't wait to see what happened next. I could really relate to Rebecca. She was strong-willed, and she often second-guessed herself and the choices she was making for the challenges she was facing. And I do that, so I related to the character. It was a tearjerker because it's really engaging. It engages your emotions. So often you can really relate to this character, even though this took place right at the end of World War II when the Holocaust finished. She was released from a camp. I'm not going to tell you the whole book, but to get to where she wanted to go, she had to jump through some big, huge hoops. And they were very challenging. You can relate. So for me, it was a real tearjerker. Her story is amazing. It's based on a true story. And so she realizes her dream. And when you're on a quest and you are looking to see the manifestation of your vision, your dream, you can relate to a character like this. And it's also connected to Israel, which is very big for me. All right, so this is the review I wrote. I'm going to cut that out right now. And I'm going to talk about how you know what to write. The first thing you want to do after you finish the book, or one chapter, or the front and the back, that's what I do a lot. When I have so many books to read, I'll read the front, the back, then I decide, okay, I'm going to put that in the pile to read the whole thing, or I got everything I needed, especially when I'm doing nonfiction books, from what I read. I'll come back to that if I ever need to as far as a resource. So one chapter tells me so much that even at one chapter, I can write a review. I know whether I'm going to like this book or I'm not going to like this book. Or I can tell how the grammar is. I can tell that we've got good character development. If it starts off with a bang, it's engaging, it's already got my attention. And if you happen to be somebody who is part of someone launching a new book, it's really awesome if you just take 2 minutes, read a chapter, write a review. Then you want to come back later and write a fuller review. That's great. But those reviews are what rate people and get their books to the place where Amazon starts putting it in the forefront, or it comes to the forefront when people are doing searches and things like this. It's your review that does that. So it's so important to do a review. So let's say you've read one chapter and you're going to write a review. Just go right to Amazon, do everything I just told you, just put your name in there, click. But I don't know exactly how to write. I'm not a good writer. I don't know what to do. So I always say, first, do a quick brainstorm. Think of all the words that describe what you already liked about the book. Start positive. I loved the way the book started with the character. I had to know what's coming next. I fell in love with the character, her strong soul, something like this, okay? It was engaging. I was inspired. It was suspenseful. I learned something that I didn't. Wow. It captured my heart. So right away, just put down these things: engaging, inspiring, suspenseful. Just write a quick brainstorm. Do it on a piece of paper. It takes 2 seconds. What are we looking for? How the book connects with your emotions. Do you remember something? When you're reading the book, all of a sudden it triggers an old memory for you. So how does it connect to your emotions? How does it trigger memory? Also, what are you learning? These are big questions. Did I learn something from this book? Was I engaged? Does it have a good character development, good transitions of events? So you know what it's connecting to. Could you follow it? Does it flow? Or are you scratching your head like, how does that connect to that? Was it informative? A lot of books like Leaving Tomorrow, based on a true story and full of historical background. How's the backstory? The backstory can include history, life events of the character, family, friends. Is all that developed out well? The settings, the people they meet, the experience, the intimacy, etc. So that's the backstory. These are questions you can ask yourself. And then what comes right to your mind in the beginning is how simple a book review has to be, especially if you're just reading the first chapter. If you haven't read the full book, you just say, I love the story. Just started the book. You can really be honest, just started the book, but I couldn't put it down. Wow, Rebecca just resonated with me. The book grabbed my attention from the first word. And what happens to her when she returns home? What a tearjerker. Now, what about a memory? You can get real specific. Something like this. When Rebecca was standing at the back door of her old house, looking inside of the enclosed porch, I couldn't help think of our old family home and wish that I too could go back and just spend time in the house I grew up. So if a memory connects, you can write that in as well. And then just end with something like must read, loving the book. And then once you put all of that in, go back up here and you can just put in something like very inspiring, a must read. But let's say you're reading just the first chapter. You want to keep it short, but I can relate with Becca's challenge. Wow. Something like this. You can do anything. So inspiring, couldn't put down. Don't spend a lot of time thinking about a review. Set a timer. Give yourself 5 minutes, 10 minutes max. It really needs to be fast. You can do this on your phone. You can do it on your computer. But take the 2 minutes and write the review. When you see someone ask for a review, they send you a little note. Take a moment. Do it right then. Even if you think, oh, I'll do it later, it's one of those 2-minute things that you can do right then. And then it's done. You don't need to think about it anymore, and you don't need to feel guilty. Oh, I didn't write a review yet. You know how it is. All right. So that's just some of the tips. What if the book's horrible? What if you don't connect at all? What if you want to say, wow, the grammar is terrible. It doesn't have this, it doesn't have this, it doesn't have this, blah, blah, blah. Don't do that. First of all, this person has put so much time into writing the book. And if you want to be constructive in your review, be constructive in a very positive way. Because the more positive you are, the more they'll go back in and fix the manuscript. The beautiful thing about Amazon, when your book is up there, especially if it's self-published, you can actually fix the manuscript and reload it, and it'll be ready for the next person. So it's good to start with something very positive. This book has so much potential. Even though I had a hard time getting past grammatical mistakes and spelling errors, this book is so informative, even though I had a hard time getting past grammatical mistakes. Or this book is so informative, but for me, it was a little boring. I wish the author would have added more stories, made the content more compelling. I wish the author would have created fun and engaging connections. This book is so informative. Start with something positive and then go on to critique. Be specific if there's too many grammar errors. If you don't like the way the author, I happen to write in a very cheeky way. Like I ask you questions throughout the book and I can be very sarcastic. You might not like that. Just let me know. Tone down the sarcasm, all right, Hadass? Okay. So this is the kind of thing. Positive always. I would never go below a 3. A 3 is bad. You don't even need a 1 or a 2. The book is so horrible, do a 3 because somebody put a lot of work into that book and you want them to read your constructive criticism so they can improve the book. Not so you make them depressed and want to go out and drink. No. And last thing, if the book is political, like I have political books, right? This is not about whether you agree with the author's perspective. It is about the fact that you are reading or listening to the author's perspective. Then you want to write something like this. I enjoyed reading the author's perspective about President Obama. I have a book coming out on this. I learned so many things about him that I know. However, I wish the author would have approached the subject more objectively. I didn't like her sarcasm when talking about the differences between the Democrats and the Republicans, something like this. Or you can say, I also learned this is where you share your viewpoint. Super important. You start out with appreciation, with respect, and again, the beauty of writing a review, it gives you the opportunity to share your viewpoint. If you disagree, say it, but say it right. Don't use swear words. I don't care how intelligent you are. There's something that happens between the comma, the swear word, and the next thing you say. All right? That means that you have not fully developed your thought. And you're using a swear word to express an emotion. That emotion is what you need to be expressing. It made me angry. It made me sad. It made me frustrated. Okay? Not a swear word. That's not a viewpoint. In fact, it's very degrading and it doesn't help anybody. All right? It is really your expression, your viewpoint. Share it. Okay, there we have it. This is how to write a review. Put 5 stars and just write, I love the story, a must read. That's how simple it can be. You can go detailed or you can go simple. Then you just hit submit. And that's it. It's all done. It'll show up on the author's page. Take a look here. Daniel Silva, he has a lot of people that buy his books. I love his books. And so let me just open The English Girl. Oh, that was such a good book. So this is the other thing you can do. Go into other books, see what they write. It's a serious novel. Explores crime, blackmail. That can be ambiguous because the victim may have knowingly, imprudently, egotistically done something ugly enough. This is why it's so good to write a review, because you really get to share your viewpoint. And it's here. It's going to last forever here. So you always can come back. Masterful. That's what I would have said. A masterful spy story. I actually have a review already in here. Look at, we have somebody in Chinese. And by the way, you can do paragraphs like this. You don't have to push it all together. So you can just hit the return button, and before you submit it, it will make sure it's all in paragraphs. All right. So much for this. And I think that we've got a wrap here. It's Hadass. And I hope this has helped you learn how to write a review. Now, I'm going to do a short video on this as well and connect it to this longer one so you can learn how to write reviews. So in closing, let me say again, your review can change an author's life. Yep, it can change an author's life. It can also add the element an author needs to fix areas of a manuscript, fix spelling, grammar areas, or encouragement. Authors, especially when they first book, they don't know whether it's going to flop or fly. Your review can make them fly. And if they're a good author, you want them to fly because you want to see more of their work out in the public space. So your review is everything for an author. So please take a couple minutes and write a review. Thanks so much. It's Hadass.